the schools is a diverse population. We have 60% Hispanic, 25% ELL, 21% special education, and a 90% free and reduced lunch population. So, and we have kids, I think we have 90 homeless kids, and we have a majority of our parents are single parents. And so you have to look at your school and you have to say, we need to adapt to the needs of the student. So we had to look at to say, what do we do to motivate these students to come to school, to get excited about education? We know that when they get in trouble, we have a discipline policy. It's very straightforward. You know, you do this, this happens. You do this again, here's the second consequence. When a student decides to work hard, dedicate themselves to their studies, and then all of a sudden we give them a nice pat on the back and, hey, you got an A. Well, it should be a bigger deal. So when our kids come in, which this grant was allowed us to do, was to do a reward incentive, was to acknowledge and reward the positive behaviors that the kids do. So our kids in August, if they were on sixth grade, they got a calculator medal. That was a gold medal, and then they got a medal in reading if they were at a 6.0. If they were below a 6.0, they didn't get a medal. And I told them, don't despair, don't put your head down because you didn't get a medal. You have again in November to earn either a gold medal, or by this time, I don't care what level you scored on, if you made a 6-month growth, if you were if you scored at a 5.0, but you got a 5.6, now you get a silver medal. We'll call you an MVP because you believed in yourself, you still did the work that you did, and you increased your reading or your math level. And then what we do is we hear this going down the halls, and we call that the academic bling. Because the kids wear them proudly when they have that. It means something to me in a sense that it's real. It's something that they can touch. Why do we have to keep doing the same things as administrators and teachers to say there's immediate consequences for negative behavior? Why isn't there immediate consequences for positive behavior? Mm-hmm. Students coming from backgrounds that haven't had a lot of success, but now all of a sudden they're getting a medal because I'm on grade level in reading and mathematics. So now it's a big deal that they've now tasted success for the first times in their lives, and it's paying off. Right now, I'd like to take this time to acknowledge our 18 overall perfect attendance students. So what we did with attendance is the first 9 weeks, students that got good attendance, and we told them in the beginning of the year. Maybe they didn't believe me, but you know, originally we had 18 or 21 students that had perfect attendance. Those 21 students still have perfect attendance. And the first 9 weeks, we gave them I believe it was a Kennedy t-shirt, it says Kennedy Pride on it. And all of a sudden they're wearing it around school, and kids were like, well, how'd you get that? I don't know, I just came to school. I have perfect attendance. They gave me a t. So those 21 kids, and I told them when they come back, if you have perfect attendance the next 9 weeks, not only do you get a pencil and a pen, a nice pencil and a pen, and then you guys get a root beer float. And I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna do that with you because I appreciate the fact that you're coming to school every day. Well, not only did those 21 students come back the next 9 weeks, but then we had another 25 students that had perfect attendance for that 9 weeks. So then they were able to get their t-shirts. This past 9 weeks that we just did it again, we've got 40 kids that are now gonna get t-shirts. We have the 21 kids that are going to get the backpacks because for 9, 18, 24 weeks now, or 27 weeks now, they've gotten perfect attendance, so now they're getting the backpacks. If at the end of the year they maintain that, they get a yearbook. And then the other kids will either get the root beer float, or the kids for this past 9 weeks that have perfect attendance, they'll get a t-shirt. So it's doubled our attendance rate. We have kids wanting to come to school now. We have kids wanting to take testing. So the students that were proficient on the SBA, we put their names on this plaque, and we call them KMS scholars. And so now these kids, I think we had 68 kids of 7th graders last year that we put it for 8th grade this year, but their names are on that plaque, and it's out in the hallway, and they go by and they're like, my name's on there. Just because they got proficient on the SBA, I call them a scholar. So now they understand that the test means something to them, but achievement means something to them. We call this the Hall of Fame wall, and on the other side is the MVP wall. So those are the kids that made the 6-month growth. The kids on this side are the Hall of Fame students. To me, the reason why I'm in public education is the equal opportunity. It levels the playing field. That's what public education is supposed to be doing for our students. And sometimes when we get our budgets, you're sometimes and we do it anyway, but sometimes you're telling us to do the impossible with very little. And so when we get these grants, we're able to do the things that will motivate our students to believe in themselves, to believe that education is the way that that it's the answer to their lives, and then the situations, no matter what their life situation is, that if they just push a little more effort and they invest in education, is going to be the answer to them and the key to their success in living a successful life. I have kids that were multiple offenders in 6th grade, just getting multiple discipline referrals, on the verge of probably getting kicked out of school, to right now one of them is my vice president in student council. And she's an avid, and I think she's got a 3.1 average. She was on the honor roll. She's got gold medals, silver medals. They should just be wanting to go to school and learn. Well, you know what? When you are the 8th grader, and then you got to go next door to Tomasita and get your 4th grade brother and your 2nd grade brother, and you got to go home and you got to feed them and you got to give them a bath and you got to bathe them because mom's working till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. You know what? The parents don't have time to do that. And I know it's not fair for our students for that to happen, but those are the cards that they were given. We want them to learn on top of this. So you got to have a motivation factor for here. It's not about being so black and white that this is the way the procedure is and this is my way or the highway. No, it's I've always been a teacher, and I've taught the way I had to adopt to the classrooms that I have. There was, I may have a first period that I'm teaching differently with a third period because there's different dynamics in the classroom. You got to adopt to the student population. They're gonna succeed, and I know that when my students leave Kennedy, a very high majority of them will be successful. And it's due to the APS grant for what these are. And I have a report, and I'll show you the report, and I'm working on the end of the year report as we speak, and you can see the difference, the big time difference in the last 2 comparative 3 years. When I first got here, we used to have parental involvement committee meetings, and we used to have 7 people show up a month, and I think 4 of them were my staff members. Okay, now because of what we've done with the Blue Sky grant, we have at least anywhere from 30 to at least 90 parents show up at our PIC meetings a month. And then we have community events, like our literacy night last year was 226. We had a after school program that we had 120 people show up. We had 84 people show up for enrollment in Medicaid, and we got 50 families health insurance that were enrolled as previously as last year with the same thing that we did. It's a sense of community in a sense that it brings the community together. And what we do is it helps me to provide the existing resources that we have, that we're already using, to give us a bigger bang for our buck, but it helps the community come together because you're acknowledging positive reward. It's changed the culture of my school. It's changed the culture of my school in the sense that my students are believing in themselves. They want to do the best that they can. They are trying. The kids know exactly where they're at. I mean, I've had kids come up to me and say, yeah, I went from a 4.0, I'm at a 4.9, I should be getting a silver. Okay, when a kid can tell you where they're at, growth, they're taking charge of their education.